Hi everyone. Today I wanted to give you a walkthrough of our orchard here in Indiana. We'll start over here with the apple trees. We've got 5 different varieties. This one here is a Sundance. This next one is a Liberty. And then this up here is a Macintosh. Here is a Pixie Crunch. These are really sweet, and the kids really like to sink their teeth into those. And then lastly, here's a Honey Crisp. So each of these trees, all 5, were planted in 2017, in the summer of 2017. They're all very comparable in height. The one that's probably slightly the tallest would be the Pixie Crunch. It gets a little more sun early in the morning, but it gets the same sun in the afternoon that the rest of them have, because I'm kind of surrounded by a wall of trees here. We've got a nice little isolated patch of some of our acreage back here where we decided to put all these to protect them from overspray off the farm fields. So here on the Sundance, you can see we've got quite a few. I'm going to take a few of these home just to test them today. Let me try one like this one. They're not coming off the branch all that easy, so they're definitely not ready, but they probably still have some good flavor. Still all yellow. Getting a little bit of color up on top, or some that still needs to fade away. But let's go ahead and give this one a try. So typically an apple that's underripe will be a little more sour. As they ripen, they'll get sweeter depending on the variety. I would say this one's kind of right in the middle. It's more sweet than sour, but it still has a little bit of a sour initial taste. Yeah, they're still really good, and the kids will definitely eat these. The deer like them too. So my Liberty had quite a few apples on it last year, and due to the wall of trees right behind it and it not getting enough sun, I think it's going to be a biennial producer for these first couple years. I did not take any of the flowers off of this tree in the beginning, in the spring. There was a decent amount, but nowhere near as many as last year. And there's either natural drop, or we had a wave of heat for about 2 weeks. It was mid-90s this month with very little rain or no rain. So that could have been part of the problem. Maybe it already dropped whatever was fertilized, but that's it for that one. Now the Macintosh, I'm not terribly crazy about these apples. Each year they seem to be, even though I spray, they seem to be really ravaged by bugs, holes in them, and you can kind of see why whenever you take a bite of one. I'm not even going to try one today. They're a softer apple, like this Sundance I'm eating. Nice hard crunch. Those, your teeth sink into them, kind of like a peach maybe would be a good comparison. It's not my favorite texture, so we'll see if anybody else in the family likes it, but who knows. The Pixie Crunch. Let me take another bite here. Nice. Large apples. Most of them are much smaller than what they would normally have been. I think that's due to that hot dry spell we had. These are red already, and they're normally not red until they're at least 50% larger than that. I think they're just going to be small this year because I do not irrigate artificially over here. It's all rainwater or nothing. But there's still there's probably 100 apples on there. All of my apple trees are also standard size. So I've got I think it's a 25-foot pole, a picker I can use to get these high apples, but I figured if I'm gonna plant an apple tree, let's plant an apple tree, not a baby. And then over here's the Honey Crisp. This guy, these always seem to get large no matter what. It's got fewer on it than last year as well, like all of them. But these have still managed to pull enough water out of the ground. And it could be because it gets a little bit of shade from these trees when the sun's in the south. Also a very, very sweet apple. Great from the store. A lot of people in my family really like those. So that's those 5. We're on, like I said, it's about 7 years in on these trees. I bought them grafted at 2 to 4 feet tall. And nothing more than a stick with roots, really. And this is what they've turned into. So the next, I had 4 cherry trees and now I've got 3. I had a Bing cherry tree right there that I replanted with another Bing, Marciano, and then a black cherry. Nothing would live in that hole, so I've abandoned it, and I don't know why that is. Over here is a black cherry. These are the same age as the apple trees they were put in. They might be a year younger, maybe it's 2018. No real fruit on them yet. They're still growing. This one's probably 9.5 feet tall. I do get a bloom every now and again in the spring, but they're not ready yet. I think the roots need to get deeper or something. They're much slower growers than the apple trees. This is a Bing that has spread out its branches pretty nicely. It's put these last, I don't know, 2-3 feet on in the past year or so. Usually when I see a sprout like that after I've planted a tree or transplanted a tree, it's because it's finally got its roots sunk in. And you'll notice the weeds down at the bottom. We weeded all of the trees here in our orchard. We've got about 30, and all of them were weeded about a month ago. The weeds down at the bottom of there aren't getting the water because the tree's taking it. The first black cherry we looked at, tons of weeds. Even though we take them out, we're trying to get the roots established. Once we do, those weeds will not proliferate and grow like that. Nothing on the Bing either. This is a second black cherry. It's really taken off about the same amount of growth, another 3 feet maybe. Weeds aren't near as bad at the bottom, near as thick or dense. That's my 3 cherry trees. I don't know if I'll ever get a 4th again or not. Maybe if I move it to the other side. I like to keep them close together, different varieties, but we'll see. Maybe that hole will eventually get rid of whatever is in it, whatever fungus or groundwater spring. I'm not really sure. So next, this one's kind of cool. I planted this the same year, 2018. It's a cold hardy fig. It comes back every year, and I had it fenced in just like these other trees. Let me stop with that for a second. Each of my trees have 10 feet of wire fence that I put into a circle or cylinder shape and tie them shut. Do the math on that, that's about 3 feet across roughly. This one was in that and hadn't got a single fig since 2018, not ever. Planted some in some pots at my house, got figs the first year. I take the fence down this year where I can get up a little bit closer with the weeding, and it's no secret that weeding is going to help your plants grow a lot quicker. But this same year, for the first time, this particular guy has several figs on it. Baby's growing. I can get you zoomed in there, focused. So I'm not sure what that's all about. We'll come back to that a little bit later too. This is just an overview of our orchard, so lots of stuff to talk about on a fig. And over here I've got 4 pear trees. These are Bartlett and I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Anjou, something like that. These are only 3 or 4 years old. I think they were 2020, something like that. Maybe 20, yeah, probably 3 years, because we expanded some acres. We bought more on the far side, and about that year is when we planted these. So no real fruit harvest on the pears yet. They're all about the same height. I would call it 15 plus. We've had a few pears show up. We've taken them down. We ate one a little early. It was really, really hard. I would imagine in the next year or so, these will have large harvests. Been able to train some of the branches to grow downward by pushing them through sections of the fence for a year or so, making sure it doesn't rub too hard, and then I set them free after that, and then they start going outward. So once the branches get out, we get a little less dense up top. Even though I'm pruning, they will probably set a nice pack of fruit. These over here, I've got 4 of these. These are cold hardy almonds, and they really struggle with our summer heat. I think they would do a lot better on a mild west coast. However, it's still doubled, maybe almost tripled its height, and we've gotten a few almonds off of them. I think they're in the same boat. Once they get enough water, or consistent water, which I need to work on, they'll do better. This one here is 12 plus feet tall, and it's really thickened up at the base. Also a cold hardy almond. All 4 of the ones I'm going to show you are the same variety. Looks like a sprout coming right out of the knuckle there. And this one, same issue. I really need to re-weed it again. I haven't gotten to it, but still got some new growth popping out on top, so it's got something right. And this is probably the heaviest foliage on any of my cold hardy almonds at the moment. In the spring they look beautiful. The pink flowers on them are just crazy. They're worth the tree just for that. But you see the leaves not drooping like the first one I showed you. Over here, they're standing upright, getting lots of sun, and they enjoy the heat. Now these next 4 are peaches. I've got Reliance, and I'll think of it here in a moment what the other one is. These are only maybe 3 years old, but they're starting to settle in and really branch out and leaf out too. No big crops, a few peaches here and there, but they look very similar to the cold hardy almond tree, just because I think they're a cross between an almond and a peach. That's the cold hardy almonds. This peach here is definitely growing the quickest. Let's take a look around, see if we got any. There was one earlier this spring up on this branch. Nothing yet, but you can see right there 2 feet of new growth. Geez, on that side over there, it's a 3-foot branch growing up. This guy will definitely produce next year. I cannot remember the other one, Reliance, and what's that tag say? That is Reliance. Okay, so we'll go up here now and take a look at my plums. I've got 2, a Methley and Santa Maria, I think. This is the Methley plum. These were just planted earlier this spring, so it's added, 8 inches, 12 inches to it, and a little bit of girth, as well as lots of new foliage. It's done really well up here on top of this hill. I'm probably 10 feet in elevation higher up than where the apple trees were, so the water table's a little further away, and they definitely don't have roots that deep yet. Here's my Santa Ana. Santa Rosa. I think it's going to be done and need to get replaced. He had a bug or a little worm on him. Could be a reason it got killed. However, we'll see. So then over here, we'll stop and look at the hazelnuts. This hazelnut's been here for 6 years probably, and this is the first year it's died like this. This was all weeded out, looked great just a few months ago, so I'm not sure what happened over here. Maybe those same worms. I have sprayed, so I'm not sure what would have happened. Anyway, here's its brother, planted at the same time, and they have these really cool catkins that they hang down. Really bad for allergies, which I have, but it's a lot like a birch, or maybe in the birch family. Like these little guys here, they actually grow over the winter. By the time winter's done, those things will be multiple inches long, hanging off, and that's where the pollen will come from. Several more hanging up here. I've not seen this many in this kind of packed density. Oh wow, look at that. Never had that before. Never even noticed one. Let me back up a little bit. But I think that's our first hazelnut. You can't tell, but inside right now the joy is just incredible. I thought these trees were going to die like the one we just looked at over there, and obviously don't need the pollinating partner. They seem to work on their own. So all right, so I wonder if there's any others on here. The June bugs are awful. They eat everything except for the trees I'm going to show you next, and I'm not sure why that is. I'm so pumped that this thing has hazelnuts on it. Cool. Okay, over here we have 2 pecans. I don't know how to pronounce these either. Paraquay is one of them. I believe that's this one. And they were planted probably 5 years ago. They were grafted, short little 2.5 foot tall trees maybe. This one's 10 to 15 or 12 to 15. And no pecans on it yet. But the leaves look absolutely beautiful. Nothing really eats these. The color stays the same all the time. The June bugs do not attack it. Very cool. Over here, this one starts with a C, and I cannot remember what type of pecan it is. But it's in the same boat. It looks very beautiful. These were grafted. As I mentioned, I purchased them grafted. Very nice looking tree also. I'm sure it doesn't have anything yet. It usually takes, I hear, 7 to 15 years before they will start putting on crops of pecans, but we're not too far away now. I actually had a third one planted over there that was a volunteer from some 75, 80-year-old pecan trees at my dad's. Ungrafted, planted it. It got to about 3 feet tall. Boom, done. Died right there. So the grafting, I believe, proves worth it. They're some of my best looking trees right now, and one 20 feet from it that wasn't grafted died 1.5 years, 2 years ago. I'll take you back through all these trees one by one as I do more videos, but that's it for today. Is a general overview of our orchard. So we do the tropicals at the house and all of our native, I guess, domestic trees here at our orchard. Like and subscribe, and I'll show you some more. Thanks.